Kenshin.
Kenshin.
What in the hell do you think you're doing?
I've faced more of these life or death situations than any of you have.
The will to live is strong, stronger than anything else!
You're wrong. The only thing stronger than anything is me! Only the fittest survive in this world in the end!
Welcome home, Kenshin.
What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to give you guys my RuroKen Hokkaido arc Interesting Facts Part 2. Okay, guys, it's been a while since Part 1, but if you missed Part 1, definitely check it out. I left the link in the description. Basically, what these are is I look through the chapters of the Hokkaido arc. There are some very interesting things, historical significance, character references, foreshadowing for the future. There's a lot of very interesting, things that I noticed that I didn't before. So these are things that I noticed while reading a second or third or even a fourth time, and I want to share them with you guys. So, all right, so let's get to it. If you guys noticed, that intro was actually images from the new RuroKen Exhibition. Now, that exhibition is actually going on right now in Tokyo Dome City. It's really neat. It was absolutely amazing. A friend of mine actually shared some photos, so I got a virtual experience, and wow, that was really, really neat. So that was what the intro images were. I left a link in the description where you guys can actually access those photos, so definitely check those out as well. I also recently got some new items, some goods from Kenshin. I got them from the exhibition, and also I bought the box set for the special edition manga. So there are a lot of goods, a lot of Kenshin stuff coming in the next month or so. So definitely look forward to that. There's also going to be a review discussion coming next week. It'll probably be either Monday or Tuesday. So look forward to those. All right, let's get to it. Interesting Facts Part 2. Number 6. Koshijiro Kamiya and Yoshie Sugimura share some very interesting similarities. Now, who is Koshijiro Kamiya? That is Kaoru's father. We actually learn about him in the Hokkaido arc, right? In chapter 1, we learn that he's still alive. That's the whole reason why they go to Hokkaido in the first place. And Yoshie Sugimura, who ends up being Nagakura Shinpachi. So, so we're going to look at those two characters. I'm going to briefly tell you what's interesting, and then I'm going to go in depth and share from the manga. So I have a scan to share with you guys, so definitely you guys can look at that while I'm talking. So, all right, here we go. So basically, both are masters of Kenjutsu. Both live in Hokkaido in the Meiji era. So both are masters of Kenjutsu, both teachers of Kenjutsus. They both teach Kendo. So Kamiya obviously is in the Kamiya school. He taught the Kamiya Kashin style. And you have Yoshie Sugimura. He is famous for teaching prison guards at Kabato Prison, which is mentioned in the Hokkaido arc, by the way. So that's a very interesting. They're both masters, and they taught, different people, but they both taught their crafts. So they're very interesting. Both of them live in Hokkaido, as I mentioned, in the Meiji era. So they either moved there, I believe they moved there, because originally Koshijiro was from Tokyo, and I'm not exactly sure where Nagakura was from, but I know he was in Kyoto during the Bakamatsu, the revolution, so he moved to Hokkaido, and he actually has a family in Hokkaido. So that comes to the next thing, is he has a son. Yoshie Sugimura has a son named Yoshitaro, and he has a wife as well. And then, of course, Koshijiro has a daughter, Kaoru Kamiya. So they both have siblings. They both have children. One has a daughter, one has a son. So that's another, similarity. Another similarity is they're both careful. they're both playful. So they both have careful and playful personalities. So I found this very interesting. They have two sides to them. So yeah, they both have children. Like I said, they both live in the Meiji era in Hokkaido, and also both of them were involved in the revolution. So Koshijiro was involved in the Seinan War, which was the Satsuma Rebellion. And of course, you guys know, Nagakura was in, the Boshin War. So yeah, that's very interesting. And yeah, so I wanted to share that. Now let's look into the manga. So hopefully you guys got a good idea from that scan. Let's look at, things from the manga. So basically, in the manga, in chapter, I think it's 11. Yeah, I think it's chapter 11. Sugimura is shown at a tea house, right? Okay. And there's this girl who gets kind of captured right here, and she's working at the tea house, and someone has a knife to her, and she's like, help me, Mr. Samurai. And he says, girl, there's no such thing as samurai anymore. And you can see he kind of has this look, kind of doesn't look, the nicest guy, but at the same time, you can see, this is a different person than Nagakura Shinpachi. He's changed. Yoshie Sugimura is the new person in the Meiji era. He doesn't he doesn't want to kill anyone, but at the same time, he doesn't believe samurai are necessary. So yeah, very interesting. Okay, the next thing is both of them are careful and playful personalities. So let's look at Kaoru's father, Koshijiro. And we learned this in chapter 1. And in chapter 1, we kind of get the photograph, right? We get the photograph, so we get an idea of his kind of playful personality. You can see the photograph here. He kind of has like this, he's, I think it's a photo bomb, because you can see he's kind of just having fun there. So that's when Kaoru learns that her father is still alive. And that's the first known time that we actually see her father. So, very interesting. And now, let's take a look at the difference between Koshijiro and Nagakura, or Yoshie Sugimura. So here's Sugimura. He's also playful. You can see the kind of making fun of people. Not really making fun, just silly, kind of a silly personality. Also, he likes to bring people together. He does aggravate both Saito and Kenshin, so he does have, two sides to him. But yeah, kind of the uncle kind of character. But yeah, I found that interesting that it kind of gave that idea that maybe this Yoshie Sugimura could be Koshijiro Kami at the same time. I feel like the author was telling us that they have similarities, and so that was interesting and I wanted to share. Okay, let's get to the next one. Yaiko carries the symbol of evil or bad on his collar. Just like Sanosuke in the past, he upholds the symbol for bad, right? And this is respect towards his friend. This is respect for his friend Sanosuke Sagara. You see it at the end of the original, and he continues to wear it. So, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll show you the scan as well. So, first, we have the part where he says his goodbye. He tells him, you can stay at my place. And then, of course, you get the part where he leaves for, across the world to travel the world. And then you've got Yaiko shown at the dojo as, an older. He's 15 at this point. And you see the mark on his back. Basically, it's Sanosuke's, mark that, he upholds and wears all the time. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is when he says goodbye. You can see Sanosuke basically saying, you still don't get it. it's time for you to, uphold the mark of evil. And you can see his eyes light up here. And then, later, in chapter 256, I believe. Yeah. When Kenshin and Yaiko have a duel, okay, you can clearly see the mark right here. Right here. It's right above his collar. You can't see it fully, but this is the first time you actually see it. So there he's wearing it right then. So I found that very interesting. And in the Hokkaido arc, he continues to wear it. So that is clearly shown in chapter 3 when Kenshin and Yaiko have a fight. And that shows it fully. So you guys can see it fully here. Okay. So Yaiko, Kenshin are about to duel. And here is right where it's at, where you can see the mark right there. The bad mark, the mark of evil that Sanosuke always wears on his back. You can see it right above his collar right here. So that is very interesting. I noticed it and I wanted to share with you guys. Maybe you guys knew it already, but I wanted to share it anyway. I think it's awesome. It just shows respect towards his, close friend. Okay, next thing. Asahi and Ashitaro greatly influence one another. Now, what's interesting about this, both of these characters are orphans. So I'm going to share that scan with you guys, so definitely check it out. And I will continue to talk. Okay, so basically, like I said, they greatly influence each other. They are both orphans that grew up without a family. Now, yes, Asahi did have some support, but at the same time, she did not have a good family. She did not grow up with a loving mother and father. Neither did Ashitaro, which is very interesting that both of them happen to be in Kamiya Dojo. So yeah, because, Kenshin also kind of was an orphan and he didn't really know, his parents either. So anyways, then we go to the next part. Their names complement each other. Okay, so what Ashitaro means is son of tomorrow. That's what literally Ashitaro means. What's interesting about this is Kenshin actually gave him those characters. So before, it actually meant wretched brat, which was like Akutaro. And you guys know the mark of evil we just saw. That is part of his name. Now, when Kenshin gives him his name, it's actually Ashitaro, which is completely different. It's completely different, and this actually really surprises Ashitaro, and he is greatly, you can see his face light up when he sees the characters in his name. They're different than what they used to be. So his name is Son of Tomorrow, and Kenshin gives him that name. Asahi literally means morning sun. Okay, so they are kind of complementing each other in a way. They're both positive sounding names. So anyways, okay, the next thing. Asahi offers food to Ashitaro. And food is everything to Ashitaro. So that's a huge thing. Another thing is that when she gives the food, she's actually has a hidden agenda. She's actually after his sword. She's not just being nice to be nice. She's trying to get something from him. And he doesn't resent her for this. In fact, he actually says, "Rice ball girl, I remember you, even though that, you tricked me. That's not what I'm concerned with. What I'm concerned with is that you actually helped me. You gave me food. So, I really appreciate it." And she was shocked because, she was taking advantage of Ashitaro and his friend, but actually, in this case, he remembers her because she was kind. She gave him the food, and food is everything to Ashitaro. So I found that interesting. Let's get to the actual looking of these things in the, the volume. So yeah, that one is in chapter 1 when they both, well, first one is in Ashitaro the ex-con, and that's when she gives him the food. You can see it's a rice ball. And the next one is in chapter 1, and that is when basically this guy, Sako, that, she's closely related to or, tied to, is trying to basically say, you have to do what I tell you. Ashitaro stands up for her and actually helps her. So, they do influence each other. She actually doesn't want to fight. She wants to live free, and Ashitaro helps her. Because of that, she ends up being part of Kamiya Dojo. She ends up learning how to read. And on the other hand, Ashitaro gets food. So they both help each other out. So that's very interesting that both of them influence each other in this manner. Also, Asahi quits her job. She quits her job, and that you saw that there. She's yelling at Sako, basically, I want to shine in the new era. She's basically asking to leave this line of work of violence, of manipulation, and, Yaminobu. So it's very interesting. They both have great influence on each other. So, yeah. Okay, the next thing. Asahi Kubota was raised as a mercenary for the Yaminobu. Now, we learned this in chapter 10, that she is actually, a member of Yaminobu. She was raised as a mercenary. Now, she actually hates violence. This is very interesting. So this was mentioned early on in the first chapter of Ashitaro the ex-con. So we actually learned that she does not like confrontation. She doesn't like violence. She rather likes persuasion, which is why she resorts to giving him food instead of, fighting him. So this is interesting. And yeah, so this is the first time we learn where she says she doesn't like violence right here. And we actually learn this further when we see Ashitaro basically trying to destroy everyone with the Mugenjin. You can see on her face, she's like really worried. And then later, we actually see that she's actually really skilled. So even though she doesn't like violence, she's actually really skilled, which is very interesting. And that is in chapter 12. So I'll share that as well. So basically, they try to get her to come back with them, and she refuses. She smashes Ashitaro in the face. You can see it right there. Knocks him back, basically completely defeats him in a fist fight. Fist fight, she's stronger. But I don't know about, weapons per se. But yeah, in a fist fight, she's really strong, really skilled, really, highly skilled, I'd say, as you can see. But yeah, really cool stuff. Like I said, she prefers persuasion over violence. And you see this at the very beginning where she's kind of has a darker character. She's basically, you can see the look on her eyes. She's wanting something, and she's trying to get it through persuasion rather than fighting. And, there are countless times where she sets Ashitaro up. And basically, she's being used by the enemy, by the same people she's working for. She's working for these people, and she ends up quitting because of Ashitaro. But yeah, she tends to run away from her problems. Asahi tends to run away from her problems, which we see in chapter 5. So we actually see her running away when they're in Hokkaido. She actually runs away from Kenshin and Sako, both of them. And we also see it again in chapter 10, which is basically she's worried that the Batosai is going to kill her. And you can see it. She talks about how Batosai is the greatest enemy of Yaminobu. Basically, this tells us that she is deeply, scarred as a child. She was told that the Batosai will kill you if you come in contact with him. So basically, she's very emotionally fragile. So she's fragile. So even though she's strong, she's skilled, her mind is fragile and very easily manipulated. So it's very interesting that she doesn't like violence, but she's skilled. She's fragile, yet she can also be kind of vicious in a way. So yeah, if you cross her, watch out, because, we saw in I think it was chapter 10 or 11. Yeah, I think it was chapter 11 where she comes back with Aran and Ashitaro, and they are beat up like hell. And she just basically beat the crap out of both of them. So yeah, that's Asahi. Things that I noticed that were interesting about her. Okay, the next thing. Sano's brother, Ota, becomes a student of Kamiya Dojo. Now, Kamiya Dojo obviously is the one in Tokyo. Yaiko is the assistant master now. And one of his students is Ota. And we learned this in the final chapter of Kenshin. Now, what's interesting about this, unless you know kanji, you don't know this. Now, it is mentioned in the Wikipedia because, there are people that do look it up and, have this knowledge. But in the final chapter, it's actually right before he fights Kenshin that you see this. Now, this is right above the nameplates, okay? So one of these nameplates above here is Ota. One of them is Ota Higashindani, I think his name is. That's Sano's real name. Higashi, I can't remember the actual name. It's a long name. But anyways, Ota's Sanosuke's brother, and he's listed here. Now, in the Hokkaido arc, he's actually shown, but he's actually not mentioned as a character. But I found it, and I noticed it, so I want to share with you guys. This is actually in Chapter 3. Oh, by the way, the scan actually shows him seeing his brother in action, and it actually shows him that he actually respects his brother and wants to become stronger. So definitely check that out. All right, guys. So as you guys can see, Ota basically greatly respects his brother, and he wants to grow up strong like Sanosuke. So he goes to Tokyo after Sanosuke tells him when he's a little kid to go up to Tokyo to Kamiya Dojo. And, you can learn to become strong there. And it's interesting that he's actually one of Yaiko's, students. So, in Chapter 2, let's see, I think it's Chapter 2. No, Chapter 3, sorry. Chapter 3, he's actually in here. I think, wait. Might be Chapter 3? Chapter 3? Okay, so here is the part where Ota is shown in the manga. This is in Chapter 3. Chapter 3, Yaiko's katana. Now, you get, when Yaiko says this is a man's fight, when Kaoru says she wants to be a part of it, she gets really pissed off at Yaiko, and of course, her students, his students are yelling at him. You shouldn't treat, her like that. And you see the girls talking as well. This guy right here in the background with the rosy cheeks, this guy right here, this is Ota. You can actually see, I don't know, this is actually a hiragana. This actually says Ota right here. So you can actually see that's the younger brother of Sanosuke. and he's become older now, and he's part of Kamiya Dojo. So he's actually along with the characters right there, but he's actually not mentioned as Ota. But I just noticed it, and I wanted to share it. So pretty cool stuff, right? And he's also in Chapter 21. I know I've got a lot of references here. Chapter 21. And Chapter 21 basically has where Yutaro is coming into the dojo, right? He's coming into the dojo, and in Chapter 21, he's also... Okay, guys, so he's also in Chapter 21, so I want to share that. So basically, you can see the round-robin tournament and all the nameplates here. You see Yutaro coming in. Well, look right here, this guy yelling at Yutaro. You can see right here, he's like, this guy again. This is Ota right here. Ota's shown a second time, so he's definitely going to be introduced at some point. But yeah, that's Ota. So I found that very interesting. And yeah, guys, that is the second Interesting Facts Part 2 video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. There will be a discussion for Chapter 32 coming probably next week, probably Monday or Tuesday. The new Chapter 33 will be coming on Thursday, the 4th. I believe it's Thursday. So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.